Hey y'all, it's Chris, and today is Memorial Day, so I thought we would do something a little bit different. I have spent the last hour or so weeding my wife's flower beds, and I have been liberating her roses and some boxwoods from a whole lot of Virginia creeper and a little bit of poison ivy. And while I was doing that, I was just thinking about today and what it means, what it represents. And, a little bit later today, this place is going to be covered up with kids. That pool's going to be filled with kids, eating icy pops, and we're going to grill some cheeseburgers and hot dogs, and we're going to be having a big time. But today is a serious day. It's a day where we remember the women and men who have paid the ultimate price, who've given their lives in service of our country. And so while I was out there weeding those flower beds, I was reminded of this story, and I wanted to share it with you. It's a pretty important story from the history of my family. It's about a letter that my grandmother wrote my Aunt Dorothy, her daughter, back in 1950, August 24th of 1950 to be exact. But before I do that, I want to describe kind of where I'm sitting. I'm sitting out in our pavilion, and this is an absolute gorgeous day in Franklin, Tennessee. It couldn't be prettier. There are blue skies and white fluffy clouds, and the trees are green. The temperature is absolutely perfect. And you may be able to hear this clanging over here. We hung a new flag today. The old flag was kind of tattered, and so we replaced it today. And my 15-year-old son said, hey, I want to go hang the flag. And so I didn't ask him to do this. And truthfully, I would not have thought to do this. But he hung it at half-mast. And so I'm sitting here watching this flag at half-mast, kind of blowing the breeze. And just thinking about today and what it means. And so I thought I would come sit out here and crack a cold beer, which, another little note, I'm not a beer guy. Never really have been, but I played golf with my friend Tyler Brown the other day, and afterwards he said, let's grab a beer. And so we went inside, and I said, hey, I'll just have what you're having. And he bought me this beer, and it is a Bearded Iris Homestyle IPA. And I gotta tell you, it's absolutely delicious. It tastes like grapefruit, and I love grapefruit. So I went by the store and bought a little 4-pack, and I'm having a beer right now because it's Memorial Day. And I just weeded some flower beds, and I'm going to tell you a story. This is a letter that my mama, my grandmother, we called her mama, wrote to her oldest child, Dorothy, my aunt. Now, my mama and pawpaw had 12 children. Yes, they had 12. Dorothy was the oldest. My mom, Sandra, was the youngest. And in between were a number of other young ladies and 3 young men. So a grand total of 9 daughters and 3 sons. And their oldest son, Marion Dallas Hall Jr., everyone called him Junior, but he was born in 1924. And in 1943, he was killed in action. He was 19 years old. He was a pilot in the U.S. Marines. And so you have to think, she's gone through the loss of a son. He was 19 years old, killed in action. So she's experienced the loss of a child. And here she is writing this letter in 1950. And this is just a casual letter that she is writing to my Aunt Dorothy. But this letter has become legendary in our family because as she's writing, after about 2 or 3 paragraphs, her handwriting visibly changes. It becomes disheveled, a little sloppy, really. And you'll understand why that happens here in a minute. But and at the time, her second oldest son, William Henry Hall, everyone called him Billy. He was born in 1926. And so he is 23 at the time, and he is serving as a second lieutenant in the Army in the Korean War. And so she is writing this letter to her daughter, Dorothy, and she says, Dear Dorothy, received your letter when I got back, which was Monday night about 8 o'clock. left Cross City that morning about 4:30 and drove 50 miles out of the way, and then came by Pulaski to bring Aunt Ida. So I guess we made pretty good time. Stayed a week, and I was more than good to get home. Think it'll take me a week to collect my wits again. I've felt so dizzy and crazy. I'd rather work than travel any old time. We took Linda, Janie, and Sandy. Those were their 3 youngest daughters, and Sandy is Sandra, my mom. They were pretty good, but it was still tiresome. We went to Silver Springs again Sunday. All the Halls and kinfolk went, Betty and Wayne, and all took a lunch and had a picnic. And I may be a little bit choppy reading this because it's in cursive and it's a little bit hard to read at times. The pictures you sent were here when I got home too. I haven't had time to look at all of them, but what I've seen were very pretty. I'll send those back soon as I have time to look at them all. But I didn't see any book. The kids said they didn't either, so I guess she forgot to put that in. And this is where her handwriting visibly changes. She says, "Oh, Dorothy, the mail has just come. And I got a letter from the commanding officer, a Lieutenant Owens from Frankfort, Kentucky. Billy's dead, killed in action on August 8th. God's will be done over ours." I cannot grasp it. I am stunned. Yet I know that it is so. We have to bear it, but oh, God will help if only we trust Him. I am clinging to Him as my only comfort. I am still trying to think all things work for good if we love the Lord. Sometime, somewhere, it must. It has to be. We can't see it now, but we will sometime. Last night after I got home from church, and she adds in parentheses, the revival is on, which I've always thought is funny. And I was on the bed before I went to sleep, or I was dozing maybe, and I saw a banner or certificate or something like a purplish satin ribbon attached. And I saw Billy's name at the bottom, and I tried to make like it wasn't there. That it was Junior or someone else. And you got to remember, Junior was her oldest son. He had already been killed in action 7 years earlier. And I tried to make like it wasn't there, that it was Junior or someone else. I tried to get it from in front of me and shut my eyes and make like it was a mistake. The letter from the officer said that he recommended Billy for the highest decoration any country could give. I'll send it to you later. A man brought a telegram a while ago after we got the letter. I'm sending both letters to you. I got Saturday before I left for Florida. Last written August 5th. Send them back if you will. Love, Mama. So that is what today's about. Remembering the women and men who have paid the ultimate price. And I just wanted to share that with y'all. Love you. And I'll talk to you soon.